Hello, today we're going to be demoing the Bell and Howell 16mm camera. Now, they come in these cases, and just in case if it comes locked, the code is 000. You'll have to undo these latches, and then you can lift up, and you will be presented with the Bell and Howell. Now, you want to take this out of its case. In the case, you will be greeted with a tape measure for focusing and the camera. Now, this is a pretty old camera, and unlike, say, the ARRI, it is a non-reflex camera. So you have two separate lenses. One is for viewing, and the other is actually what exposes the film. So, to get into actually loading the camera, you're going to want to go to these two dials right here, and you're going to unscrew them, and then you should be able to lift off. We're going to place that off to the side for right now, and we're going to get our roll, our dummy roll, which is right here, and then our take-up roll. So, what we're going to do first is pull back on the pressure plate. That way we can load the film. And we're going to take our film, and whenever you are loading this camera, you want to make sure that the perforations are facing down. If you don't, then you will chew up your film, and most likely you will have the emulsion side facing back, and all your images will come out red. So it is extremely important that the perforations are facing down. So what we're going to do is place the reel on this end. We're going to feed it into this side, and then like that. And then just so we can get some more film, we're going to just quickly run it. That should give us some film, and so we need a little bit more. We're going to run it a little bit more until you have enough on this side. Now, then you're going to want to make sure that you put it into the slot right here. Press down, get a little bit more, and you see how there are loops that have formed. You want to make sure that those are about, you can fit your fingers in both of those loops. And then what you're going to want to do is take your take-up reel and feed the film onto the little slot that's in the reel. Put it in there, and then make sure it is snug, and then you can put it onto the rod. Now what we're going to want to do is put the cover back on, and then just use those dials to lock it back on, and then you're going to wind up the camera, and then if you want to run the camera, the little button up here is what rolls it, and once you take your finger off of it, it will stop. If you want it to continuously run, you can push that in and it will continuously run. If you want to stop, then pull that out. Now, moving on to the lenses. Remember how I said that this is a non-reflex camera? So there are different lenses on the viewfinder side that correspond to the different lenses that are on the film side. The way that you know that you have your lenses on the correct viewfinder is there is a little dot on the viewfinder that corresponds to a little dot on the lens side, and if that does not line up, you're just going to want to make sure that you twist it so that it does line up with that little red dot on the viewfinder. Now, you can handheld this camera and run it. You do it like that, or you can put it on a tripod using the little screw mount right there. Now, choosing your frame rate, that goes to a dial right here. So, say if we want 12, then there's a little dot that says 12. If you want 8, there's a little dot that corresponds to 8. 64, turn it to there. And then, normally when you're doing any type of film, you're going to be using 24 frames per second. This little dial right here is your film counter, and really these are very hit or miss. Some of them work, some of them don't. I would not rely on that at all. I would make sure that somebody is keeping track of how long the film has been running, and just know how long a single 100-foot spool can last in one of these cameras. So the way that you actually know which lens you are using is whatever lens is closest to the viewfinders is the one that you're going to be using. You will see a little dial on here that has a little F on it. That's your f-stop. One is going right there. And then you'll pretty much find a little black mark right there. It's kind of difficult to see, but whatever number you put right there is going to be your f-stop. So just say we have an f-stop of 1.5, we'll set it to there. Now for focusing, this is quite simple. Using that same line, we are going to measure out from our subject to the lens, and whatever distance that is, we are going to find whatever is closest to that on this. So we'll just say about 4 feet, and that will mean that we should have focus. So that should be it for the Bell and Howell camera.